So Jai Shri Ram, everybody, and as we begin, I'm doing a small recap of what we did in our last talks. So they say that awareness of the soul is the only thing that will stay with us, even if our soul moves to another character. Even though we will take upon the karma and desire of that character, the only thing that will remain will be the awareness. So what do we do to invest in our souls? That's the first thing, first question that we have to ask ourselves. I also have to ask myself. Even though I'm sitting here, that is the question that I am asking myself all the time, saying, what am I doing to invest in my soul? Because if I'm not evolving from this birth to next birth, or there is that Nishada, Prithu and Rishi. So even in Nishadas there are three types of Nishadas. Even in Prithus there are three types of Prithus, and finally the Rishi, which means before we get to enlightenment of a Rishi, there are 6 levels. And trust me, no matter how much we go to the Prithu level, right, we always will fall down to, it's a moment that you will fall down to the Nishada level. So Mana Nishada, you have Deha Nishada, and then Viveka Nishada. So these are the 3 Nishadas that we keep slipping down to. And Prithu also, you will have 3 types of Prithu. Now I'm forgetting those 3 types of Prithu, but yes, those are the 3, I mean, you'll all know, we can do a recap later. So those are the levels of evolution. The more we invest in our souls, the more we move up. One momentary lapse of awareness, we slip down to the Nishada level. But it's a continuous practice. And that is what is the chapter all about, called awareness setting. So let us begin. So we talked about, if you remember, what is it that your guru does. Let me do a small recap.
Mic work ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
Hello, yeah. So there is something known as expert level, right? Hanumanji talked about, we are not able to go beyond expert level. What is expert level? Let's say that no matter in your field, if you go down to whichever level of depth, you become an expert in that. Now there are 2 ways to look at it. The more you know, the more you get to know that the less I know, which makes you humble and it makes you a devotee. It moves you into spirituality, because you realize that I have only known, the more I know, I have only known 1% of it, or maybe 0.1% of it, and 99.9% remains unknown. Right? Even nuclear physicists, in the movie that we saw, What the Bleep Do We Know, we realize that nuclear physicists who are at the helm of their field, they go down to the depth to say that, okay, from here on we don't have answers. And that moves them into the path of spirituality. Saying, is there only spirituality is the answer? The Atma has the answer. Now, there is another breed, which is the 99% of human race, which means that they become an expert and they say that I know the best among this, so they attach themselves to that. If you take that away from them, nothing remains. Right? So that's why you see people after they retire, they don't know what to do with their lives. Because all their lives they have known them, people have said, doctor. You take doctor away from them, what are they? They don't know. That's when they immediately deteriorate, their mind and their body deteriorates. You will see a lot of people after retirement, they lose purpose, right? So because they have not invested in their souls, they have not invested in understanding who they are, right? They only know that this is the identity that the world has given to them, so we are strong in that identity. So what happens after that? Let us listen. Lord Hanuman, perhaps, but why is it called the expert barrier, wondered Urmi. Perhaps because we human beings consider ourselves the knowers, the masters, the experts of everything, guessed Urva, expecting a nod from the immortal Guru. Lord Hanuman explained, you can understand the mysteries of this universe by thoroughly studying any single thing. Let's say you directed your curiosity towards a piece of metal. You didn't have to study anything else, just a piece of metal. If studied thoroughly, if explored beyond all barriers, can lead you to the absolute truth. You will meet the biggest barrier in the shape of a belief that you have become an expert in the science of metals, that you have studied everything there is to study about metals. Especially for mainstream seekers, this barrier is almost impossible to break. Just imagine that you are a mainstream seeker who has become an expert in the science of metals. What would be your next goal? To become better and better in the science of metals, reckoned Urva. Even worse, said Lord Hanuman in a sad voice, you would try to use your knowledge to secure your and your family's future, to build relationships, to earn and maintain an image in the society. When you become an expert in something, your intelligence, intellect and samskara taste satisfaction and get tethered to the belief that completion, wholeness and happiness lies within the expert barrier. If your chitta is strong enough to overpower your other three mental bodies, you can break that barrier and start exploring philosophical, metaphysical and even deeper aspects of your field of expertise. Like I told you, what the bleep do we know is all about that. These people have reached the ultimate knowledge that they had to discover, and they said that we don't know anything now. So that makes them spiritual and philosophical. A strong chitta makes you break the norms, pushes you beyond your comfort zone, shatters your beliefs of human supremacy, paves the way to know the knower, brings the observer under the observation, forces your invisible mental bodies to reveal themselves. This is amazing because in the end of what the bleep do we know, what happens? It finally goes down to this person becoming the third person. Have you watched that movie? We did a movie watching session called What the Bleep Do We Know? The movie ends with this person splitting away and starting to look at her own self. Which means, yeah, you become a third person. You become the witness. You detach yourself from your your character, and you say that whatever the character is going through is not me. It is the character. If the character called Anil is going through all these experiences, I can only be a witness to what is happening. Right? In that, what happens is, so I watch a lot of movies. Whenever I watch movies, it is always such that the hero or the villain or whatever, right? They have to take certain calls at certain points in their life because of the situations they experience, right? They are forced to become either take a bad decision or they're forced to take some decision, right? That's what Netflix is full of those movies. But I always think if a person is aware, then he won't have taken that decision. If a person is aware that I am only the character and I am the soul and not this character, then would he have taken the decision to earn that money? One of the most important things is you understand that money that is there is not yours. If it has to come to you, it will come to you anyway. If it is never destined for you, even if you take it, it will go away from you. So similarly, a lot of things like this, when you bring about awareness and belief and faith and devotion and bhakti in your heart, you will realize that you have detached yourself from this character, so you will no longer be driven for the benefit of this character. The next time you watch a movie, do this. Think about it as if you are that aware, if you are an aware soul, what is the decision you would have taken, which the hero has taken now? He'll say, "Arey, mere parivar ke saath aisa hua." Then you start asking yourself that, agreed, it happened, but I am not that person. I'm not the character, and the characters of my family members had to experience it. We will go with that. You will no longer, it will no longer be a struggle in life. Everything will become smooth and flowing. What has to come will come, what has to go will go. You don't think too much.
Not crave for anything.
Huh?
Not crave for anything.
You will not crave for anything, you will not be driven by the void, saying that if I have that money, I'll become complete. If I have that power, I'll become complete. So in one of the movies, one character, he becomes the witness for a murder. So the person who murders says, now that you have seen, I will say that you are a witness and you are a participant. So you have to kill the person who, who's the real the victim. So you have to go kill him. So this person will say, oh my God, yeah, definitely I'll get fixed. Then what to do? So that series starts from there. This fellow will say, ठीक है जो आप बोलेंगे मैं वो करने के लिए तैयार हूँ. Now if it is an aware soul, what will happen? He says, look, I am a witness to it, but I will not participate further. I will tell the truth. Then that person will say, no, I'll fix you, I'll make you only responsible. I'll say, fine, it's my karma if that is the case. Maybe in my last life I fixed you. So in this life you will fix me. That's fine. But in this life I break it. In this birth I break this. You fixing me fixing you, I'll break it. If I have to undergo the consequences of it, I'll undergo, but I will stick to the truth. I will not be a participant in this from this moment on. That is how an aware soul will think. Why? Because an aware soul knows that this is not the only birth. There is a history to me, there will be a future to me. Deva, since it's all about revealing the four mental bodies, why not study the mind from the beginning instead of wasting time in studying metals and other things? Queried Urmi. Amazing question, right? This question was actually running through my head. So think about it. The reason why it was running through my head is, I just told you that we have to invest in our souls and only the awareness will remain. So why should we invest in our souls in terms of, like, I am pretty bad in music. So I thought that, okay, I should learn music because in next birth when I am born, I should have some musical talent. Okay, so if that is the case, if all I need is awareness, why should I study music?
Yeah, why do you need music?
Why do you need music? I mean, similarly for others also, right? I mean, somebody will say, you know what, I've never invested in dance. I've never invested in fitness, in becoming strong. My life has been all about fitness and being strong. So, I have excelled that. Now, to take up something else, right? Why should I take it up? Instead, what she's saying, no? All I can do is practice awareness. Let us read the answer. Or better still, study the soul, added Janaki Rupa. A mind expert or a soul expert is not any nearer to the truth than, say, a metal expert, said Lord Hanuman. Why? Can you tell me why?
They go deep into it and they study by atoms and everything else. So they go deep into it, maybe they also go deep inside them and find answers.
Correct. That is one way of answering. You are close to the answer. Anyone else wants to volunteer the
What is
answer?
the question? I didn't get you.
See, what Lord Hanuman says is, the question you understand, right? Why don't we just study the soul or study the four minds or just study the soul? You can just leave everything instead of doing music, let's say archery or whatever, right? Gymnastics. Instead of doing all that and putting yourself through torture, you can just study just the soul and become and take that awareness into next birth. Correct. So Lord Hanuman says, a mind expert or a soul expert is not any nearer to the truth than the metal expert. Why?
But I think they don't experience that. See,
No,
one question.
Hanuman is telling that he is closer to the truth. Expert is closer to the truth.
Who study about
He
the
is not
metal?
any closer to the truth.
Who is expert in the metal? Na?
If he is saying that if you are a soul expert or a mind expert, you are nowhere close to the truth than that metal expert.
More closer.
Or all three of you are equally close or equally far.
Far.
Why?
Because maybe the soul expert doesn't experience how to detach because he has already detached himself from everything. The soul expert, he's not the better the person who lives in the sansar. Okay, so they have to face so many things.
Yeah.
Just like for example, in somebody says something, we just get angry. We will say some bad words. So we have to think that the character is experienced, not in the soul. But the person who is expert in soul, he will not go through all these he can easily make.
He's saying that who is expert in soul and mind.
They are not nearer. They are not nearer.
I'm not. They are equally far off, is what I'm saying. Why is that? So, see. Okay, we'll read the
Go
answer.
further.
No matter in what domain you have gained knowledge, if your intelligence, intellect, and samskara are feeling satisfied, you have not crossed the expert barrier. Your journey on the path of knowledge truly begins only when you have crossed that crucial barrier. Okay, let me tell you, let me put this in perspective, right? So, what it means is that if you are a soul expert, what will you do? And I have seen lot
Completely
of
aware.
no, that is exactly what Lord Hanuman is saying. If I am a soul expert, I will say, what is the soul's journey? Where does it go? I have seen lot of these people who are like scientists. They will, if you go and watch some of these YouTube videos, right? They will say, oh, the soul takes birth in the Mukti Sagara, and from there it will come and it will become a rock. From the rock it will become a reptile. From a reptile to a bird to a more sentient being like a four-legged mammal, and from there to human being. From human being it will become a rishi. Is he any closer to the truth?
He just knows things.
He just knows things. I also know things, but I am not one step closer to enlightenment. Right? Similarly, a mind expert also only knows things.
But he's following the Gnana Marga, right?
Who?
The expert.
Expert is not doing anything. Expert only says, what Lord Hanuman is saying is that no, he has to cross that. So that's what I'm saying. See, a soul expert. I will show you so many YouTube videos, okay, where these fellows will say that in which isvi the souls will be born. ये तो मतलब महाकाल से पहले, प्रलय काल से पहले हुए थे, उसके बाद. But then what they'll do? They in the night they'll go have a pig. They will indulge themselves in all kinds of shit. They will sleep. They will not do. Are they following any marga? No. They are very happy in understanding that, boss, I know everything about the soul. If somebody comes and asks me any question from the Vedas and Puranas, from Skanda Purana, Shiva Purana, everything I'll quote. I know everything. Whatever whatever Lord Krishna has spoken about the soul in Bhagavad Gita, I know. Katta sella bharate nange. I know everything. But what is it that he does? Is he anywhere closer to enlightenment?
No. Knowing is not, doesn't mean he's doing.
He's not. He only knows.
Yeah, he only knows.
You understood, right?
Knowing is not doing is nothing knowing.
Knowing
Like when
is not
Kabir Das was asked, when Kabir Das was asked, which, who's your, which path are you following? He says, what do you mean by path?
Path.
मैं तो पढ़ा लिखा भी नहीं हूँ.
He's just
But
immersed
highly
in
enlightened soul,
clothes.
he didn't know anything.
Yeah, you know swimming.
Listen
but you
about
don't know how to swim. What is the use?
what
Yeah.
Osho says
I
about
know.
Kabir. It is so beautiful.
So what he gave as an example is very good.
Yeah.
I can write pages about how to swim, but if I put you in water, you will not be able to swim. It is exactly like that. You are an expert saying, backstroke I can analyze and I can do this. There are many people who are experts. who will know, oh boss, if you see when your cricket match is going on, everybody becomes an expert, right? Arey, he should have hit this
Done
shot
that.
for that guy. It's beautiful, but get him to face that ball in a cricket pitch, gone. he'll be clean bowled and he'll come back in the second ball.
That is true.
This is an expert. What is an expert? He only knows. Everything is registered. You talk to him about, cricket, he will quote that book by Jeffrey Boycott in page number 23. He said, you have to bat like this. He will quote everything perfect. You will say, Papa, this guy knows everything on cricket. You make him face one ball, he'll be bush clean bowled.
Like Zikir Nayak, no?
That is misquoting. That is evil. That is different.
Very criminal mind.
Yeah.
You don't ever face whatever.
Or that person who preaches, right?
Yeah. Now those guys are evil-minded. We'll not go there. But I'm saying these people who are... So what Lord Hanuman is cautioning us against is, do not become an expert. Or if you know something, cross the expert barrier. Because when you cross the expert barrier, you lose your sense of self. When I am batting, I am only watching the ball. Okay, the ball is coming. At that time, do you think, it is so crucial. My focus is my 100% is so much on, I'm only seeing he's coming running with the ball. I'm only seeing the ball, that at that time, nothing else is there in my mind. Do you think I will be able to bat thinking, the ball is coming like this, that in such and such a way I have to bat because, Sachin Tendulkar bat. Ball comes and boom, my body moves all by itself, right? Similarly, a person who has practiced awareness, not somebody who just knows. The minute a circumstance comes, his awareness will take over, not the character.
I guess Ravan is the best example. He was so expert in many of them because the
He never
and-
practiced.
Yeah, but still he could not identify what is right.
So the minute he saw Sita, that is just knowledge, no? But what we are trying to do here, so this is exactly, that is what is happening with these corporate training programs. Right? They are telling you, take a pause, do this listening. But the minute your reportee comes to you and says, "Arey boss, ye kya hai? You did not give me, I worked all this. Will you pause? Will you think of all that?" You will say, "What are you talking? You tell me, I can show you, all these 1, 2, 3, 4 things that I had given you, you never did." Will there be empathetic listening and all that? Nothing, all gone out of the window. Allegations will start flying, right? You did, I did, you said, I said, boom, it will become a big this thing, right? Then what happens to awareness? So that's why if you work at a spiritual, at an Atma level, at a soul level, when somebody is making those allegations, somebody is coming to you, you will feel him, you will have that, it will automatically connect. You will say, you're right. Today when reportee, who I work with, my team, they come and tell me anything, my first reaction is that I'll not come from a background of saying that this guy must have, there is some other reason, but I'll take him for the reason and I'll say, good, I'll give you that benefit of the doubt. I trust you in whatever you're saying. Let's go with that. So, a very good example was that just yesterday, okay, the client said that, look, all the candidates you're proposing, they are not up to the JD, what kind of this thing, and he blasted me. I said, okay, you know what, our mistake, I admit, I'll go back to the team and I will check what's happening and I'll get back to you. Now, I know that I have given all the JD, the skills, everything to the team and they have not checked. Choma, something, they've given it off to me. Now, I could have said, I wrote a mail which said, all these things have been done. Have I given, I have given you refer mail, put screenshot, saying, look on this date, marked everybody in their seniors, their juniors, everybody, and said, boss, see, I have given you everything. And they are marked in the client mail, which is getting blasted, right? So, I had given you everything. So what happens now? My boss will think, Acha, Anil has done his work. The fault lies with someone else. Correct? That is the usual way of responding, isn't it? Because now when the client has blasted me in a mail, my boss will blast me. Now when I write a mail, I'll say, look, I am safe, I have done all this. It's the other team members who have not done. Instead, I wrote all that mail and I said, what am I doing? What am I doing? I deleted the whole mail. I just wrote one line mail, okay, saying, hey team, can you please tell me if these skill sets were mentioned when we had, during the initial brief of the client, were all these skill sets mentioned, yes or no? If it is no, then I'll always go back. If it is yes, then let's work. That was my mail, that's it. They only got back and they said, yes Anil, all of these are mentioned. We are sorry, we will check and we will, modify our search accordingly. Ended there. So instead of telling them that, boss, you should have done all this, it was a question, is it there in the thing? I didn't even say, have you checked? Is it there in the JD? They said, yes, it is there. That means they know that it is there and they haven't done their job. But it's a subtle way of putting it, which means that I have kept the relationship. I've also ensured that they realize where the fault is and nobody's pointing fingers. Everybody says, okay, great, we have made a mistake. We have realized the mistake, we'll move forward. Instead of making it a blame game, allegation, somebody feeling bad, somebody feeling worse, somebody feeling demotivated. It was a very subtle way of making everything, like an inquiry. So that's why I'm saying, when you are trying to transform yourself at a soul level, becoming an aware soul, a lot of things will change. Let's continue. Your journey on the path of knowledge truly begins only when you have crossed this crucial barrier. Deva, from what I could gather from the scenes you showed us, said Urmi, Anita hasn't been following the path of knowledge. Anita has been in deep debt. She was a very rich person, but now they have fallen to squalor and they have lost all their wealth. So she is now only keeping up the pretense that she is wealthy. But right now she is wondering where the next meal will come from. She looks at her pocket, she has only 60 rupees. She is in that bad situation. She has been following the path of devotion, said Lord Hanuman. Majority of the human population is following the path rightly or wrongly, knowingly or unknowingly. Does the path of devotion also involve exposing the mental bodies, Deva, and thereby enabling the soul to master its awareness setting? Do you know the question? Do you realize what the question is? Does the path of devotion also involve exposing the mental bodies? There are so many devotees now. You see, they're all regular crowd. Are they getting their mental bodies exposed?
Some level, yes.
So you agree with that? Okay, let's look at it forward. Lord Hanuman replied, on the path of devotion, devotees cut off their original mental bodies that are invisible and adopt new ready-made mental bodies that are simple and visible. Cut off mental bodies? How, Deva? How can I cut off my mental bodies? First, you have to surrender yourself to a guru or a deity. Lord Hanuman is good. With utmost faith, said Lord Hanuman. He or she will give you a new intelligence body, a new intellect body, a new samskara body and a new chitta body. Your guru will provide you with a simple new approach to live life, a simple belief system. Let's examine how. This is what I want to do in my training program. Okay. Your original intelligence body is too complex. It keeps on making and modifying vibrant future goals. Your guru replaces it with a simple intelligence body that has one simple and unchangeable future goal. For instance, the goal of securing a place in something called heaven. Heaven, murmured Urva. One future goal that you fully believe in. It can be anything. Different gurus give different goals, said Lord Hanuman. Once Urva's doubt was clarified, Lord Hanuman continued, Your original intellect categorizes people in dozens of different categories such as family, friend, fellow tribesmen, fellow countrymen, close relatives, distant relatives, and so on. Your guru replaces it with a straightforward intellect that categorizes people in just two categories: people who have the same faith as yours and those who don't. Right? Your original samskara has so many images to maintain. Your guru replaces it with a simple samskara with only one image to keep, that of a sincere devotee. Your original chitta craves chaos and disorder in so many ways. Your guru replaces it with a simple chitta with just one idea of chaos. Do as your guru says without any second thought, no matter how radical it may seem. So in Zen Buddhism, you know what is the principle of Zen Buddhism? Sorry? That is Buddhism. Jainism. I am talking about Zen Buddhism. Zen Buddhism. Z-E-N. Zen. I call Jain as Jain and Zen as Zen. I know. So, Zen Buddhism focuses on something known as Kuan. K-U-A-N. Kuan. Kuan is something which is so irrational. In fact, there is a book by Osho called Zen Buddhism. You should all read that book. Okay? It is a completely diametrically different way to attain enlightenment. So the guru tells, go and contemplate on the sound of a one-handed clap. That's all you will be thinking. Your entire body, mind, when you're eating, sleeping, walking, all you have to think about is sound of a one-handed clap. Then they will give you some absurd things like this. Sound of a butterfly's wings. Okay, so like this, you will only be focusing on that. When you have focused so much that your entire mental bodies have collapsed, he will say, look into that well. So apparently the devotee goes and looks into the well. When he's in that well, he will turn his legs and he'll push him into the well. When he falls into the well, he would have attained enlightenment. So very similarly, Ashtavakra was the guru of
Janaka Maharaj.
Janaka, you know, right? Father of Sita Mata. So Janaka would always come and be with Ashtavakra. So finally, that one time, he came to Janaka. Janaka came to Ashtavakra. So Ashtavakra says, climb that horse. So now, any guy who's saying, see, imagine, Janaka was a Maharathi. He was not an ordinary person. He was a Maharathi. You think a Maharathi will not know how to ride a horse?
Yeah, he will.
He is an expert horse rider, right? But when he comes to Ashtavakra tells Janaka, climb the horse. Now, if you are in the place of Janaka, what will you think?
Arey, why is he asking me to do this?
Why is he? I am a Maharathi. Why is it?
Small thing.
I can ride the horse upside down on a mountain. Why is he? But in Janaka's mind, what was his mind?
The Guru.
Guru has said, I am doing. That's it. There are no two ways. Guru says, I will do. When as he was about to climb the horse, Ashtavakra takes a stick. He always used to walk with a stick, no? He couldn't walk without a stick. He takes and he gives him. Because of the stick, he's so startled that he falls down. When he falls down, he attains enlightenment. There is a moment. And this is what Zen Buddhism is about. This is what Zen Kuan is about. And this is what Lord Hanuman is talking about. Your Guru knows that you have gone down. He has replaced all your mental bodies of intellect, intelligence. So what happens when you contemplate on the sound of a one-handed clap? There is no logic, right? Is there a logic? There is no logic. So when you think of something so illogical, your intelligence body, which is all about logic, will collapse. Now what will happen to your intellect body? Your intellect body is all about feeling. There is no feeling. How can you feel something towards a one-handed clap? There is no sound coming. Can I attach myself to some sound? Nothing. Do I like the sound? Do I not like the sound? Intelligence is all about that. Intellect is all about that. Intellect is all about feeling and attaching.
Comparing.
It is comparing. It is always doing that. Okay, but now when intellect is not there, how can you attach yourself to a sound which you don't even know? So intellect collapses. Then comes samskara. So when you're talking about, you're a disciple who doesn't know. Transformer is gone.
Transformer.
I thought it's transformer burst. Transformer would have that chirr sound. So yeah, now when your samskara collapses,
Current ಹೋಗ್ತಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ.
so when you
ಸ್ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂತು.
So when your samskara, so when you're thinking about a sound like this, what happens to your samskara? Samskara is something that you have to keep up an image. What is the image to keep up? Simple. You are a Zen Buddhist. You have to do what you have. The Guru tells you. That also becomes one samskara. What happens to your chitta? Chitta is trying to go beyond and trying to find chaos. In this, there is only one chaotic nature, which is be the disciple, think of the sound, nothing else. Be the disciple, think of the sound. So now all four mental bodies, they are reduced to one point. There is nothing else. So the Guru is always seeing, where has this fellow reached? How intense is this sadhana? Where has this fellow reached? So if I have to tell you, for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they will be thinking on the sound of one-handed clap. That's it, nothing else.
Yeah.
And in 20 years, some become ready after 12 years, some become ready after 25 years, but they become ready. And when they get there, the Guru is waiting. And it's done. That's how Ramakrishna Paramhamsa was watching Vivekananda. So, we will call it a day now. We will wrap up for them, and we will. In fact, we did not even cover how much we covered last time. It was a recap, but we will come back again. These are all concepts that have to be unraveled. It can't be read. Jai Shri Ram.
Identify the guru